Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins History, Coin Lovers and Treasure Hunters. Today, we're going to dive into the incredible world of United States dimes, focusing on one that might be sitting quietly in your pocket change or tucked away in an old coin jar, the Roosevelt I dime from 1985 with its mint mark. This small silver-colored coin might look ordinary at first glance, but what lies behind it is a mix of fascinating history, beautiful design, and the possibility of real value that could make any collector's heart race. To truly appreciate why the 1985 Roosevelt dime can be so special, we first have to understand the story behind the Roosevelt series itself. After the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1945, the nation wanted a way to honor the man who had led the United States through both the Great Depression and most of World War II. Roosevelt was not only a symbol of leadership and resilience, but he also had a deep personal connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which was dedicated to fighting polio, a disease he himself had suffered from. Because of this, the dime was chosen as the perfect coin to carry his image, and in 1946, the Roosevelt dime entered circulation. Fast forward to 1985. By this time, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for almost 4 decades, but things were changing in the coin world. The U.S. Mint was producing coins in huge numbers, and collectors were paying closer attention to details like mint marks, errors, and the overall quality of the strike. The 1985 dimes were struck in 3 main locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint mark tells its own story. Philadelphia coins often came without a mint mark, Denver coins carried the D, and San Francisco coins bore the S mint mark, many of which were proof coins specially made for collectors. When you take a closer look at the design of the 1985 Roosevelt dime, you begin to appreciate its artistry. On the front side, we see the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek. His profile is bold and dignified, a constant reminder of his legacy and his fight against polio. The word liberty is etched to the left, while "In God We Trust" rests beneath his chin, and the date, 1985, sits clearly on the lower right. Just beside the date is where you'll find the mint mark, a small letter that makes a big difference to collectors. Turn the coin over and you'll find an equally striking design. The reverse displays a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, with an olive branch on the left representing peace, and an oak branch on the right representing strength and independence. Together, they capture the essence of American values in a compact, elegant design. The words "United States of America" and "E pluribus unum" surround the imagery, and of course, the denomination, 1 dime, is displayed proudly at the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, what makes a dime from 1985, a coin that millions of Americans handled in their daily lives, potentially valuable? The key lies in rarity, condition, and sometimes minting errors. While billions of Roosevelt dimes were struck in the 1980s, not all of them survived in perfect shape. Most were used in everyday transactions, gathering scratches, nicks, and wear over time. However, those that were carefully preserved, never circulated, or struck with unusually sharp detail are the ones that collectors are after today. Error coins are another fascinating factor that can drive up the value of a 1985 dime. Sometimes, mistakes happen at the mint, whether it's an off-center strike, a double die error, or missing elements in the design. These errors create coins that are one of a kind, making them highly desirable for collectors who want something unique. Even small errors can add tremendous value, transforming an ordinary dime into a sought-after collectible worth far more than its face value. The condition of the coin plays the biggest role in determining value. Coins are graded on a scale, from those that are heavily circulated and worn down, to those that are in uncirculated, mint state condition. A 1985 dime that has been kept in pristine shape, showing no signs of wear, can fetch significant amounts at auctions and among serious collectors. Combine this with a rare error, and the price can skyrocket. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value reveal. While most 1985 Roosevelt dimes are worth just their face value, if you happen to own one in perfect, uncirculated condition, especially with unique errors or special minting qualities, it could be worth as much as $45,000. That's right, $45,000 for a single dime that many people would never think twice about spending on gum or coffee. It's a powerful reminder that hidden treasures can be found in the most unexpected places, even in something as small and ordinary as a 10-cent coin. Today, we are diving into a coin that many people overlook, yet it hides incredible potential: the United States Roosevelt dime from 1980 with its mint mark. This small 10-cent piece might seem ordinary when you first spot it in your pocket change, but as we're about to discover, it carries fascinating history, meaningful design, and the potential for surprising value if you happen to own the right one. The story of the Roosevelt dime begins with the nation's desire to honor one of the most influential presidents in American history. After Franklin D. Roosevelt passed away in 1945, he was remembered not only as the leader who guided the United States through the Great Depression and much of World War II, but also as a champion of the March of Dimes campaign, which fought to eradicate polio. Because of this deep connection to the dime, it was chosen to bear his image, and in 1946, the Roosevelt dime officially entered circulation. For decades, it became a coin that Americans used every single day, often without stopping to think about the powerful legacy behind it. By 1980, the Roosevelt dime had been in circulation for more than 30 years, and the United States Mint was producing them in massive numbers. These dimes were struck at different mints, each leaving their mark on the coin. Coins from Philadelphia often carried no mint mark at all, Denver coins featured the letter D, and San Francisco coins bore the S, many of which were proof issues specially designed for collectors. To collectors today, these mint marks tell an important story, because they help distinguish between millions of coins and identify which ones may hold more value than others. Let's take a moment to appreciate the artistry of the dime itself. On the front of the coin, you'll see the dignified profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek. His portrait stands tall, representing leadership, resilience, and determination. Beside his image, the word liberty reminds us of the ideals he fought to preserve. Beneath his chin, the words, "In God We Trust," reflect the national motto, while the year 1980 sits at the bottom, clearly marking the date of this issue. Just beside the year, you'll find the mint mark, a tiny letter that can make a massive difference in the coin's overall value. Flip the coin over, and the reverse side presents one of the most iconic designs in American coinage. At the center stands a torch, representing liberty. To the left is an olive branch, a symbol of peace, while to the right is an oak branch, symbolizing strength and independence. These three images together speak volumes about the spirit of the United States. Surrounding the design are the words "United States of America" and "E pluribus unum," meaning "out of many, one," with the denomination "one dime" shown proudly at the bottom. Now, here's where things get interesting. Even though millions of Roosevelt dimes were struck in 1980, not all of them are created equal. The majority were used in everyday transactions, passed from hand to hand, and over the years they became scratched, worn down, and lost their original shine. But those rare examples that were never spent, that remained in pristine, uncirculated condition, are the ones collectors eagerly search for today. Adding to the excitement are the rare errors that sometimes appear on coins from this year. Mistakes at the mint, like off-center strikes, double die errors, or missing details, produce coins that are truly unique. These error dimes are prized by collectors because no two are exactly alike, and the rarity of these pieces can send their value soaring far beyond the ordinary. Condition plays one of the biggest roles in determining value. Coins are carefully graded on a scale, ranging from heavily circulated pieces to those in mint state condition. A Roosevelt dime from 1980 with its mint mark that has been perfectly preserved, showing no signs of wear, sharp details, and original luster, stands out immediately in the eyes of collectors. Combine this with an error or unusual feature, and you suddenly have a coin that's far more than just pocket change. It becomes a valuable treasure. So, how much could a dime from 1980 actually be worth today if it's in the right condition? While most examples you'll find in circulation are worth only 10 cents, there are rare cases where a pristine, uncirculated Roosevelt dime with its mint mark, or one featuring a rare error, has reached astonishing values in the collector's market. And the top reported price for one of these gems is an incredible $50,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $50,000 for a single dime from 1980. It's hard to imagine that something so small, something most people overlook or casually spend, could turn out to be worth a small fortune. Yet that's the beauty of coin collecting. You never truly know what treasures might be hiding in your collection, your change, or an old box of coins passed down through the years. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating world of a small but mighty coin, the United States Roosevelt Dime from 1979 with its mint mark. At first glance, this little piece of change may not seem special. After all, most people pass it along without even looking twice. But hidden in its design, history, and potential rarity lies the chance for it to be worth far more than just 10 cents. So let's uncover what makes the 1979 Roosevelt Dime so important to collectors and why it might just surprise you with its value. The story of the Roosevelt Dime begins much earlier, back in 1946, when the nation was still recovering from the loss of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He had guided America through some of its toughest years, the Great Depression and most of World War II, and left behind a legacy of resilience and leadership. But there was another reason the dime was chosen to bear his image: Roosevelt's strong association with the March of Dimes campaign, which worked to fight polio, a disease he had battled himself. The dime, a symbol of the campaign, became the perfect coin to honor him. Since then, his profile has been a constant presence in American pockets. By the year 1979, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for more than 3 decades. During this time, the coin had gone through changes in materials and minting practices. Earlier dimes had been made of silver, but after 1965, the mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition to keep up with rising silver prices. This change made the dime more affordable to produce, but also meant that collectors placed special attention on factors such as mint marks, strike quality, and any errors that might make certain dimes more valuable than others. The 1979 Roosevelt dime was produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, which traditionally did not use a mint mark at the time; Denver, which used the D; and San Francisco, which struck proof coins with the S mint mark. Each mint left its unique mark on the coins, and to collectors today, those small letters, or their absence, can make a significant difference in value. Taking a closer look at the design, the front of the coin features the dignified portrait of President Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek. His profile is striking, symbolizing determination and leadership. Alongside his image is the word "Liberty," while just below his chin are the words, "In God We Trust." The date, 1979, is clearly displayed, and just beside it is the mint mark, a tiny letter that often becomes the deciding factor for collectors searching for valuable varieties. Flip the coin over and you'll find the classic reverse design. At the center stands a torch, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left representing peace and an oak branch on the right representing strength and independence. Surrounding this imagery are the words, "United States of America," and the national motto, "E pluribus unum," with the denomination, 1 dime, written boldly at the bottom. It's a simple yet meaningful design that reflects the spirit of America. Now, you might be wondering, how does a coin that was produced in the millions become worth anything more than 10 cents? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and sometimes minting errors. Most 1979 Roosevelt dimes were used daily in shops, vending machines, and countless transactions, which means they picked up scratches, dents, and wear. Coins like these remain common and are usually only worth face value. But when a coin has been preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, with sharp details and brilliant luster, its value increases dramatically. Collectors are especially interested in error coins from 1979. Mistakes at the mint, like double strikes, off-center strikes, or even missing elements in the design, can create rare variations that are unlike anything else. These kinds of coins are highly sought after, as they are unique and often very limited in number. Even the tiniest differences can add significant value when it comes to coin collecting. Another key factor is grading. Professional coin grading services evaluate coins on a scale that ranges from poor condition to mint state perfection. A Roosevelt dime from 1979 that receives a very high grade, showing virtually no signs of wear, becomes a standout piece in the eyes of collectors. Pair that high grade with a rare mint mark or error, and suddenly the coin becomes something extraordinary. The thrill of coin collecting comes from the possibility that an ordinary-looking coin might turn out to be something incredibly rare. That's what makes searching through old collections, pocket change, or inherited coin jars so exciting. You never know what you might find until you take a closer look at the details, and now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value reveal. While the majority of 1979 Roosevelt dimes remain worth only their face value, there have been rare cases where examples in pristine, uncirculated condition, combined with the right mint mark or error, have reached astonishing figures. The highest reported value for such a coin is an incredible $54,000, yes, $54,000 for a single dime from 1979. It's amazing to think that such a small coin, one that most people would overlook, could be worth so much. But that's the magic of coin collecting. Hidden treasures can be found where you least expect them. Today, we're shining a spotlight on a modern coin that many people would never think twice about spending, the United States Roosevelt $1 dime from 2005 with its mint mark. To most people, it's just another 10-cent piece, but for coin collectors, this small coin can carry surprising significance, and in some cases, a value that will make your jaw drop. So sit back as we dive deep into the story, design, and potential worth of the 2005 Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime has been around for decades, and its origin dates back to 1946, when the nation wanted to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He wasn't just remembered as the leader who guided America through the Great Depression and World War II, he was also personally connected to the March of Dimes campaign, which fought tirelessly against polio. Because of that connection, the dime was chosen to carry his image, and ever since then, Franklin D. Roosevelt has proudly been featured on this coin. By the time 2005 arrived, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for nearly 60 years. The U.S. Mint struck billions of these coins, and they were produced at 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint is identified by its own mark. The Philadelphia Mint often carries the P, Denver coins are marked with the D, and San Francisco coins bear the S, which are often special proof coins designed with collectors in mind. That tiny mint mark, placed just beside the date, may seem insignificant, but it plays a big role in identifying a coin's rarity and potential value. Looking closely at the design of the 2005 Roosevelt dime, we see the same portrait that has been familiar for generations, crafted by John R. Sinek. On the obverse, Roosevelt's dignified profile faces left, representing leadership and resilience. The word liberty appears boldly to his left, in God we trust rests below his chin, and the date, 2005, is placed clearly near the bottom. Just beside the date is the mint mark, and that little letter is what collectors pay close attention to. Turning the coin over, the reverse design is equally symbolic. The central image is a torch, representing liberty, with an olive branch to the left symbolizing peace and an oak branch to the right symbolizing strength and independence. Surrounding these images are the words, United States of America, and the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. At the bottom is the denomination, 1 dime. Though the design hasn't changed much since its introduction, its timeless symbols continue to resonate with collectors and everyday Americans alike. Now, let's talk about what makes the 2005 dime worth paying attention to. Most of these coins were produced in massive numbers, meant for daily use, and naturally, most ended up in circulation. The majority have scratches, dings, and signs of wear from years of passing through countless hands. But those that were never circulated, kept safe in mint rolls, sets, or by lucky collectors, are in far better condition. These pristine examples are far rarer and command higher prices on the collector's market. Even more exciting are error coins. The minting process, though highly precise, sometimes results in mistakes. A coin might be struck off-center, have doubled features, or show unusual variations in the design. When these errors occur, the result is a coin that's truly one of a kind. Collectors absolutely love error coins, because they're not just rare, they're unique pieces of history. A 2005 dime with a dramatic mint error can easily be worth much more than a typical example, especially if it's in high-grade, condition, or grading, is another huge factor. Coins are carefully graded on a scale, ranging from heavily circulated and worn to mint state perfection. A 2005 Roosevelt dime that has been preserved in flawless condition, showing no marks and retaining its full original shine, can be significantly more valuable than one that shows even slight wear. Combine top condition with a rare mint mark or error, and suddenly you've got a coin that collectors will compete fiercely to own. What makes modern coins like the 2005 Roosevelt dime so fascinating is that many people still overlook them. Unlike older coins, which people instinctively check, modern coins often go unnoticed. Yet hidden in plain sight, a common-looking dime might carry incredible value if it has the right qualities. That's why coin collectors are always on the lookout, carefully checking dates, mint marks, and details that most people ignore. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. While the majority of 2005 Roosevelt dimes are worth just their face value, there are rare examples in exceptional condition, sometimes paired with unusual errors, that have sold for astonishing amounts. The top reported value for one of these remarkable coins is an impressive $34,000. Yes, you heard that right, $34,000 for a single dime from 2005. It's incredible to think that something so small and so recent could carry such value, but that's the thrill of coin collecting. It reminds us that treasures don't always come in big packages. Sometimes they're right in your pocket, just waiting to be discovered. Today, overlooked in their everyday change but which can actually be worth far more than its face value if you know what to look for. The Roosevelt dime has been part of American coinage since 1946, created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing, and over the years it has become one of the most commonly used coins in circulation. But here's the fascinating part, some dimes from specific years and mint marks hold secrets that can turn a regular piece of change into a collector's treasure. The 1991 Roosevelt dime is one such coin, and today we are going to dive deep into why this seemingly ordinary coin can sometimes carry extraordinary value. When you look at a 1991 Roosevelt dime, the first thing that stands out is the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse side. His profile faces left, surrounded by the word Liberty and the national motto, "In God We Trust," with the date 1991 placed clearly on the lower right. Just near the date, you'll notice a tiny letter, that's the mint mark. Depending on whether your dime was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, that small letter will read P, D, or S. It might look like a small detail, but trust me, for collectors, that single letter makes all the difference. The reverse side carries the famous torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, with an olive branch to the left for peace, and an oak branch to the right for strength and independence. Surrounding the design are the words United States of America and the coin's denomination, 1 dime. It's a design so familiar that most people glance over it without a second thought, but collectors know that even the smallest detail or flaw can completely change the value of this coin. Now, here's where things get interesting. The 1991 Roosevelt dime has been produced in huge quantities, so the majority of them are only worth face value. You'll find them in circulation every day, and most people use them without a second glance. However, there are special factors that make certain 1991 dimes stand out. The first is condition. Collectors and grading services place heavy importance on a coin's grade, which means how well it has been preserved since it was struck. A coin in pristine condition, with full details on Roosevelt's hair and a strong strike on the torch and branches, will always demand higher prices than one that's been scratched, worn down, or used heavily in circulation. High-grade examples graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC can fetch hundreds, sometimes even thousands, depending on rarity and demand, but beyond condition, there are also varieties and errors that can make a 1991 Roosevelt dime skyrocket in value. Imagine finding a dime where the mint mark was struck off-center, doubled, or even missing entirely. Error coins are highly collectible because they are so rare, and the demand for them is always strong among numismatists. A dime with a full strike, perfect luster, and a rare error can transform a 10-cent piece into a gem worth thousands. Collectors are constantly searching rolls of coins, estate sales, and old collections in hopes of stumbling upon one of these treasures. Another fascinating aspect of the 1991 Roosevelt Dime is the San Francisco Mint proof strikes. Proof coins are made with special care, using polished dies and planchets to create mirror-like surfaces and incredible detail. These coins were never intended for circulation but were instead sold directly to collectors. If you happen to come across a 1991 proof dime, especially in flawless condition, you're looking at a coin that is already valuable. But combine that with an error or a high grade, and the value climbs even higher. Collectors are willing to pay significant premiums for proof coins that remain untouched, perfectly preserved in their original cases. Now let's talk about the allure that draws people to these coins in the first place. For many collectors, it's not just about the value, but the history, the design, and the thrill of the hunt. Each Roosevelt dime carries with it decades of circulation, passing through countless hands, each with its own story. But the 1991 dime has an added level of excitement because collectors know that somewhere out there, hidden in jars, drawers, or even pocket change, there could be a coin worth an astonishing amount. And that's what makes the search so thrilling. You never know when you might stumble across that special coin that changes everything. So, if you happen to have a 1991 Roosevelt dime, don't just toss it aside. Look closely at the mint mark, examine its condition, and check for any errors or unusual characteristics. It might look like just another coin, but the difference between a regular dime and a valuable one is often in the details that only a careful eye can spot. Collectors and dealers are always eager to pay top dollar for coins that are rare, unique, or preserved in perfect condition, and the Roosevelt dime from 1991 has proven to be one of those coins that continues to surprise the numismatic world. And here comes the most exciting part. Some of the rarest and most exceptional 1991 Roosevelt dimes have sold for jaw-dropping prices at auction. Imagine finding a coin that you thought was worth just 10 cents, only to discover that it's valued in the tens of thousands. In fact, one such Roosevelt dime from 1991, in extraordinary condition with unique qualities, was valued at an incredible $60,000.